Last week, me and my daughter took the boat from Lombok over to Bali. This was so we could visit the Bali Monkey Rescue Centre and get hands-on with the monkeys who are living there. There's a few videos I'm going to post from our time there. But before I do that, I think it's important to first do a video to explain the setup there and explain why it is that the monkeys are all in enclosures. Often when people hear the words rescue centre, what they want to see is a monkey-type utopia. A place with huge enclosures which are full of trees and other plants, and something that really kind of resembles the natural world for these monkeys. I know that's how I felt about a rescue centre before I spent time working with the BMR. That is not the setup here, and I want to explain why, because there are legitimate reasons as to why the monkeys are in enclosures. So firstly, it's important to know that Sari inherited the rescue centre rather than created it. The rescue centre was originally set up by a lady called Lynn, who was an expat living in Bali. She had seen that monkeys needed removing from abusive situations here, but there was nothing in place, there was nowhere to take them. So she set the centre up completely self-funded, and she did what she could with the funds and the resources she had available to her. Lynn sadly passed away fairly recently, and it was at this point that Sari took over management of the centre and got it registered as a licensed foundation here in Indonesia. This was only in February 2024, and so Sari's very much been having to work with what she's got, what she's inherited. But the enclosures are actually very important for the rehabilitation of these monkeys, and I'll explain why. I'm hoping that you can see how the enclosures are all grouped together, and there's a reason for this. The aim of the monkey rehabilitation is to form colonies of monkeys that can then get released into the wild. You cannot release a monkey who has been in captivity into the wild without a colony. They will simply get killed by other monkeys and predators. Equally, if you put these monkeys into huge, great enclosures where they had free rein, it would be the same result. If they're not within a colony, they will simply fight to the death. So what happens is the enclosures are placed close to one another so the monkeys get used to each other. And over time, the hope is that the monkeys will form bonding relationships. And when the time is right, the monkeys in the neighbouring enclosures can be placed together with the other monkeys so that the colony can start being formed. This doesn't always happen. Sometimes the monkeys will simply not connect with each other. And so then they need to be moved to a different group of enclosures with a view to them forming part of a different colony of monkeys. We mustn't lose sight of the fact that the monkeys here have had years and years of trauma and abuse. So this is not as straightforward as simply trying to group monkeys up together ready for release. The vast majority of the monkeys here were taken as babies and so have no understanding of how to survive in the wild, none of the life skills that they would have been taught by their monkey parents. It's complex, and I really gained a better understanding of this having spoke with Sari at length while I was at the rescue centre. Forming colonies that will stand a chance of success in the wild can take years. Sari was saying it's usually around about 2 to 3 years. At the Monkey Rescue Centre right now, there's 3 potential groups of colonies who Sari is trying to integrate with each other and hopefully work towards getting them released. Another important factor is that the rescue team need easy access to these monkeys to give them medical attention. Due to the poor care they've received prior to coming to the rescue centre, often the monkeys will have some quite complex medical needs. There's 2 monkeys at the centre right now who need daily medication. This just wouldn't be possible if the monkeys were in a much larger enclosure and there was no access to get them. Would Sari and the team like bigger and newer enclosures? Absolutely. Are there plans to expand and make this happen in the future? Yes, absolutely. But acquiring land and building enclosures takes time and a lot of money. And again, I'll reiterate that the Bali Monkey Rescue Centre was inherited. It wasn't created this way by the team who are currently working there. And it's important to know what these monkeys do now have. First of all, these animals are treated with respect and with dignity. They are not exposed to any trauma or cruelty. Any ropes or wires that were attached to them have been cut, and they're not forced to dress in stupid little clothes and posted all over social media. They are not forced to stand on two legs and whacked with iron bars or chained up by their neck when they dare to put their paws down on the ground. They are not made to perform on streets wearing masks and clothes and violence used against them if they dare to mess anything up. They are fed, they receive any medical care that they need, they are loved, and there is a plan for their future. I'm aware from comments that have been left on previous videos that there's going to be some people who say their life is no better now, that they're still in cages. And I absolutely disagree with that. Spending time in an enclosure with other monkeys, able to jump around, being fed a nutritious diet, being cared for and being freed from abuse and violence is a million times better than the life that these monkeys have come from. And without the monkeys being in these enclosures and able to form those strong colonies, they cannot be released into the wild. So this is a temporary but necessary measure that needs to be taken so that these monkeys can be released back into the wild when the time is right. I hope I've done a decent enough job of explaining why the monkeys are in enclosures and the role of this, and also the background to the rescue centre. As I said before, there are plans to expand and improve the enclosures, but that takes time, and Sari's been the head of this foundation now for 6 months, that's all. So it's a work in progress. And this is why donations are so important, because there is no government funding to support this foundation. There is no funding outside of donations to feed the monkeys, to give them the medical care that they need, to help remove them from the abuse in the first place. Funds are tight, and it's very expensive looking after 36 monkeys on a daily basis. And so I will use this video to just ask if anyone can spare absolutely anything to donate directly to the Bali Monkey Rescue. I can say with sincerity that any money is so greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching, and any comments, just drop them below.